All right, guys, let's dive into our predictions. We are going to cover all of our division winners, our wild cards, and we're also going to reveal all of our winners for the regular season awards. So we're going to dive into Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie, all the awards. So we're going to dive into all that stuff. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. This Wednesday coming up, we have a massive, massive show. And then also we did just have breaking news. Scotty's giving away a jersey via the ActionLab. We are giving away a jersey for our super contest winner. So, and by the way, Scotty, do they have
I gift myself the jersey?
I was going to say, do they have to beat us? Because obviously if they beat both of us, then you're doing something right, and then that's. But if like, let's say
you have to win, Chris.
Okay, all right. So that's beating us. We can't win the prize. So that's the give or take. Join the super contest.
SCG was like 3 or 4 years. Try eight-ish minimum, Scott. It was a joke. Correct. I was just trying to make Rec feel bad about how old his
rookie-ish
second year
quarterback-ish is.
I mean, there's still older quarterback, and there's actually 3 quarterbacks from this rookie class that are older than him.
Yeah, none are playing.
Stetson Bennett might play by week 5.
Who?
Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett shouldn't even be on a roster right now.
Yeah, and
Stetson is older than Lamar Jackson. Just keep close. Yeah. All right, let's dive in. Scotty, I think your picks are up first. So
let's go.
And don't mind. Let me get that out of there. This isn't win totals. So scratch that. Hold on.
And Chris and Ben Scotty for these picks.
It's a weird total, but my picks are on point.
All right, so Scotty's predictions for this year, the 2023-24 season are in. And
spicy.
For sure. And
people aren't gonna love it, Chris.
Cowboys are in the dance. Here we are.
Yeah.
So
everyone loves
Super
the Cowboys,
Cooper's
right?
Super Cooper's winning the Super Bowl. You finally turned.
Get out of here, Rec. All right. Let me start with the AFC. All right.
What the hell?
No, this is what's about to happen, SCG.
Is the hot take segment is over?
Last year, to be clear, Chris, I was right on the Super Bowl champion. Shocker. In my preseason predictions last year. And
this is the true hot take right here.
I had the Eagles a game away. I had them in the NFC Championship game. So not a lot of people had the Eagles that far last year. I was one step away from having the Super Bowl matchup at my doorstep. What the fuck is this? All right. Everyone calm down. Okay.
Oh, what are you drinking?
This is, first of all, do I get a little spicy with it because just taking chalk is a little boring? Yeah, I do. But I could see this scenario.
You're diving in the deep end.
I'm going to start with what you guys should be like referencing the most as like the most wild take is on the AFC side and the first round of the playoffs on the AFC side, which you didn't even look at, I bet. Okay, let's take a look. All right. So obviously, all right, division winners. I got the Chiefs, number 1 overall seed. I got the Dolphins.
Let's go.
Winning their division, finishing number 2 in the AFC. I got the Jags in a layup division with a layup division. They're playing on the other side, winning the AFC South. And then I have Baltimore. Baltimore with a healthy Lamar Jackson this year, throwing for 8,000 yards, I heard in the chat earlier.
9,000 now.
I think 9,500 maybe.
10,000.
And I mean, I had some close calls here with the wild cards, but I have Bengals, Chargers, Bills. You notice I said as one of my hot takes, the Bills are fighting for a playoff spot. I have them as the last team in this playoff bracket on the AFC side. The Bills feel off to me this year. They were the darlings of the NFL after they barely lost the Chiefs in the playoffs. Thank you, in the Hauser.
And code yellow in the chat real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. Do a code yellow while I'm chatting through the perfect bracket. Obviously, like, the Bills at 7 is probably controversial, but let's take a look at. I literally have in that AFC first round all 3 road teams winning. So all the division winners. I have Buffalo beating Miami. I have the Chargers beating Jacksonville. I have Cincinnati beating Baltimore. That's probably, like, everyone was looking at like takes. That's probably the wildest take I have on this. Is literally I have every road team winning on the AFC side of things in that first round.
I can see one take wider than that. The Chargers not charging and actually making it deep.
I mean, listen, they did make it to the AFC title game with Phillip Rivers once.
20 years ago.
Obviously, I mean, 3 of the 4 finalists of the Final Four in the AFC are the same. I had the Chargers instead of the Jags, which were last year. Could I have picked the Bengals and been a little more boring and chalk? Yeah, but I think the Chargers. I'm high on the Chargers this year. You guys will see even more proof of that later. I think the Chargers are going to be a damn good football team this year. I think, especially offensively, they're going to be scoring a ton of points. I think. Listen, in playoffs, I think what wins is quarterback play a lot of times. And people are like, well, why would you pick Justin Herbert over Joe Burrow? You want a hot take right now that I didn't even know I was going to say? That's going to, football wife, if you're here, just
Earmuff it.
Just go to sleep.
Earmuff it for a second. Justin Herbert is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow.
Ooh.
It's close. It's very close.
I do love him.
And Justin Herbert has some issues, but like Justin Herbert doesn't have fucking Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, offensive line. I mean, the offensive line's been rough in Cincy. Never mind. But like Joe Mixon, like all of you're fucking nuts. That's fair. That's fair. I might be.
The takes tonight are incredible.
And this actually isn't a knock on Joe Burrow as much as it is belief in Justin Herbert, unfortunately. And as a Chiefs fan, I hate to say that out loud, but you guys will see later. I believe in Justin Herbert a lot this year. A lot. I mean,
football wife.
I didn't even know she could. And there she is.
Roger.
So here we go. AFC side, I got Chiefs at number 1. I get Buffalo in the divisional round. I think the Chiefs beat Buffalo. Buffalo struggled in general. But again in the playoffs, I like taking Buffalo over, Josh Allen over Tua in that first round to make it to that second round. Of course, everything's reseeded in the playoffs with football, so remember that. That's why Buffalo would then automatically play KC. You get Chargers at Cincy. Chargers never play a home game, so I'm not worried about them going on the road. And I think the Chargers lose a ton of close games. This year, they win some close games for whatever reason in the playoffs. And I'm terrified of it. As a Chiefs fan, I don't want to face the Chargers in the AFC Championship game or at all in the playoffs.
They play you guys well.
Yeah, it's close every time. We win, but it's like down to the wire. And it's tough against divisional matchups. So that'd be a tough one. I'm taking KC. NFC side, we got some surprises there as well. I don't think San Fran is like a shock. I think they're going to be a pretty good regular season team. I think the NFC West is not great. That's why I have them as the one over maybe the NFC East teams that I like, who are the Cowboys and Eagles, obviously. Because I think the NFC West, you almost have 4 free wins if you're the Niners with the Rams and Cardinals. So little easier schedule. That's why I put them at 1. 2, people aren't going to like this at all, but I think the Cowboys win the division. People don't. You can't ignore the history of the runner-up in the Super Bowl and the results the following year. It's not replicated often. I love the Eagles. I think they're super talented, but I'm going to take the Cowboys, who were a damn good team last year as well, and I think they're going to be better this year to win that division. Lions win the NFC North. Get in, Chairman. Lions get in the tournament, and then maybe a surprise. But I take the Falcons in the AFC South because you have to pick a team there, Chris. You have and
everyone's high on the Saints.
By rule, you have to take. Yeah, the Saints are the favorite, and I like Chris Olave a ton. I think that offense is going to be pretty good. But the Atlanta, I think Ritter is a little underrated. I think you have Bijan Robinson added to that, along with a really good offensive line, I think. And Drake London in year 2. You got weapons with Kyle Pitts, obviously, that we talked about. And a defense, they lost so many one-score games last year. Atlanta was awful in one-score games. I think they turn that around. Even if they just go 500 in there, I think they're good enough to win the AFC South, which is not a good division, to be clear. Wildcard teams, I got Philly at the top of that, along with Seattle and Minnesota. Minnesota, that was tough between like Minnesota, maybe the Giants and the Packers. I considered all those teams there. Maybe I just picked Minnesota because I like, and now I'm weirdly a fan of Kirk Cousins after watching the quarterback documentary.
He's a likable dude.
Yeah, super likable in that. So moving through that, we got Philly beating Atlanta. We do have
Scotty,
home wins. Yeah.
With the Vikings, you're telling me that you like that? I could not resist.
I got you. I was like, wait, what? You like that? To people that don't know, it's a
Kirk Cousins
quote when he was in Washington. But yes. I do like that. I like that. Man, I have the swag of Kirk Cousins, so we're kind of the same. I do have in a Detroit-Seattle matchup, I like Detroit to move on there, and then a Dallas-Minnesota. I like Dallas. I like Dallas a ton, obviously, this year. People are going to hate on that, but I think this is a big year. I actually, if nothing else, Trey Lance adds another element to Dak where he knows he's got to get his shit together. You have, if everyone stays healthy, you add Brandon Cooks to that wide receiver core. You get a healthy Michael Gallup back, where don't sleep on that as one of the best wide receiver core in the leagues with CD, Brandon Cooks, and Michael Gallup, along with, I think, one of the best running backs in the game, Tony Pollard. And then defensively, you have Micah Parsons, who I think is a freak.
Yeah.
A freak.
Unreal.
You have Trayvon Diggs on the back end. You have a lot of pieces there. That defense was very, very good last year. If Dak was turnover Dak last year. If Dak avoids that and turns into what he was every other season, which was not turnover prone, this team is going to win a lot of games and it's going to make the Super Bowl. I'll say it right now. They're going to make the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
They're going to beat them Eagles in Dallas to go to the Super Bowl and then face my Chiefs. Yeah, is that my AFC team versus my NFC team? It sure is. Guess what, bitches? This is my world. And to be fair, I've never picked Dallas to go to the Super Bowl.
No, which is why I think it's getting a lot of interesting reviews in the chat, which is chat's loving it. They're asking if this is the hot take segment that's rolling over into others, the next segment.
SCG. I'll say one thing. Scotty has a lot of cojones for these. I didn't want to do chalk, Chris. I just felt that was a little boring. This is something. Is it going to happen? Maybe not. But I think it very well could, and I think it's more fun that way.
I think. So
I'm gonna roll the dice with these teams.
You're going.
You're trusting a team.
Who
had the Eagles?
Who had the Eagles going to the Super Bowl last year? No one.
To be fair, none of us expected the Rams to fall off the cliff and the 49ers to lose every quarterback.
Exactly. Which is all you're
Crazy
saying.
things happen.
The NFL is unpredictable.
I'll defend you here a little bit, Scotty.
Unpredictable.
I'll defend you a little bit, Scotty.
You're still putting a lot of faith in Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott to not be useless.
Which I think Dr. J mentioned earlier.
I think Dak's going to be fine. I worry about McCarthy.
Yeah, that's what Scotty picks the Cowboys, even after all the trash talk about Mike McCarthy. I think that's what Dr. J said earlier on. But
like what SCG said.
And then
if they don't make the Super Bowl, pineapple on pizza.
And then their offensive coordinator that left, I'm picking to get to the AFC Championship in his new home.
And Chairman,
I get it's weird, guys, but these are my picks.
Chairman doesn't believe that the Lions will lose to the Cowboys. He thinks they'll crush the Cowboys.
Oh, they would lose to the Cowboys.
At very least, they lose to the Cowboys via refs.
Okay, Scotty, if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, pineapple on pizza?
I mean, how about at least NFC Championship game, like Super Bowl?
Okay, if they don't make it to the NFC Championship game, you eat pineapple on pizza.
I will.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
I'll
I
defend.
also have to do a code yellow again, but yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
If the Cowboys
go!
don't make the NFC title game, I'll eat some pineapple.
All right, I'll defend some of Scotty's picks
on
here.
Pizza.
I'll defend some of Scotty's picks here. So, believe it or not, we didn't talk. Scotty and I don't talk about some of these things before we get on stream. We kind of he'll submit his picks to me, or I'll submit my picks to him, or we'll do our selections separately, and we'll just give them to each other. Whoever's making the graphics builds them, and then that's how it works out. Coincidentally enough, Scotty and I have exactly the same playoff teams making it to the playoffs, which is crazy. So, like the Falcons. Well, I'll dive into my bracket here in a little bit.
I'm still defending this shit.
I'm not. I'm not. There's no defending this. Guys, if Dak Prescott. Now, I'm not defending. I don't have the Cowboys going this far, but you'll see mine in a second. If Dak Prescott can actually be turnover free in an offense and defense as talented as this Cowboys team is, this could be something that might occur. Do I think it'll happen? No, because you're taking a leap from a one and done in the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl, and there's a lot of important games that Dak hasn't won yet that he would need to win like 4 straight to get to be a Super Bowl champion, which that's a leap for me personally. Do the Cowboys have enough talent on that roster to make that happen, and can they compete on paper with the Eagles and the Niners? I believe they could on paper, but the Chargers are good on paper every year, huh? So there's that. So that's just my take. But to say that the Cowboys are not even close to being a team that can do this, I think that's false. I think that, so I'll defend Scotty and his pick here. Do I have him going this far? No, because I don't think Dak can make a leap from winning 1 big game to winning 4 straight big games. But they have a talented enough roster. If he plays turnover-free football, they could do something like this. So just throwing that out there to all the people that chat who think this is absolutely crazy. Don't.
I mean, on paper, if people removed names from the teams, because people have a bias towards the Cowboys, people hate the Cowboys. They hate the Cowboys. That's just and it's because they're a big name, but they haven't done anything forever. It is what it is. I get why you hate them. But on paper, the Cowboys are one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. No doubt about it.
That's not hard to do. The NFC sucks again.
All right, fine. But people are freaking out over me taking one of the most 3 talented teams in that conference to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, paper can say all it wants, do it on the field. I say that's true. I say it about the Chargers every year. We say it about the Cowboys have a talented team every year, and
You could say it
the
about
Niners.
Your Bills, Riley. I love you, Riley.
We could say it about
you could say it about your Bills.
the Niners have had the best roster in the NFC for the last 3 years. How many how successful have they been?
Dr. J, I think Scotty just picked the Cowboys because his good friend is a Cowboys fan. What a great friend. I've never picked them before, and I've had this friend for a while, far before this stream. So I think it'd be, I would be scared and excited for that matchup for sure if that's the Super Bowl matchup. That'd be a lot
You'd be
of fun.
scared of a team led by Mike McCarthy?
I'd be scared of watching it with my football buddy, and
Oh, yeah.
I think we could handle it pretty well. But it is the Super
Riley.
Bowl, so there's different stakes.
Fuck
Right.
off.
Look,
with
I know.
love.
Fuck off with
With love. With love. Thank you for parentheses with love.
I think the bigger surprise is the Bengals.
Chargers.
The Bengals Chargers, maybe, because I know the Bengals are in the clock. They need to make something happen. They have a really talented roster going to get Justin Herbert, and I mean, that's an interesting one. But
I think all 3 of the teams along outside of the Chiefs in that Final 4 in the AFC are like kind of on the clock a little bit with having to pay some players soon.
Well, let's get
the Bills are already paying guys, and they're kind of struggling now.
Yeah, and then the Bills just had a weird offseason. Like Stephon Diggs has been weird. I don't know. I just don't.
All right.
I feel like the Bills aren't in a good spot.
Let's get to my picks here, and we have exactly the same teams in the playoffs, which again we didn't talk about before this.
Yeah, I filled mine out, and then Chris sent me his picks, and I'm like, dude, we have. I mean, they're very different seating, and the bracket is very different, but the teams
are all exactly the same. So starting out in the AFC, I have the Chiefs top seed. They're going to be good. They're going to be the best, and I think that everyone's playing catch up. So obviously they're the number 1 seed. Then I break it out. I think the Bengals have a really good team. Joe Burrow is going to be good this year, as long as he can navigate this early injury that he's dealing with, and they can kind of mitigate the calf thing and anything else that might be happening. If he's healthy and they have all of those weapons and they have a decent defense, they have a pretty solid team to be at least one of those top seeds and win a bunch of games. 3 seed, I have the Bills. I think this might have been a mistake for me to have them this high because I'm with you, Scotty. The Stephon Diggs thing is weird. If you're on a team that's projected to be a Super Bowl caliber winning team, you don't have dudes that are the best at their position, especially wide receiver, upset about stuff. You're hyped about going into the season and trying to win a Super Bowl. So that's weird. And then I think there's something off with the Bills a little bit compared to some of the other. I feel like they've peaked at their hype and they're kind of coming down, whereas these others like Jacksonville and even as much as I hate to say it, the Chargers are kind of people are trying to put them a little bit higher. The Dolphins are highest they've ever been in hype. It seems like the tides are flipping a little bit when it comes to expectations. So the Bills might be a little high for me, but I still have them at 3. I still think they could potentially come away with that division and win that. 4, I have the Jags. They're going to win their division. They should, with all the talent they have on that team. Then you get into the other seeds. So I think the wild cards, you get which I think will come down to the last couple weeks of the season with the Bengals and the Ravens to win that division, and it'll be tight, but I think the Ravens fall a little short. They're still going to win a ton of games in the regular season, so they're going to be the top wild card. Then you have the Dolphins sneak in. I don't think the Jets make it. I think the hype is too much on the Jets. No, we don't have the Jets making it. Milwaukee's
no. I don't believe in them.
Riley's taking receipts, and I want you to. Coach Prime is taking receipts, and look what he's doing. So hey, Riley,
I take those receipts.
I took receipts as a Nuggets fan all last year and the year before. Like, hey, don't worry, receipts are good. Keep them coming. I love it, Riley. Yeah, I just think the Miami Dolphins are just the better team. And I think if Tua, which I think he will, they'll kind of keep him out of trouble. He'll stay healthy. Tyreek's going to have a big year. Jalen Waddle's going to have a big year. I mean, top to bottom, I think that Vic Fangio's defense is going to change that team too. I think that's going to be a big factor. So they come in here, they make the playoffs, and then finally, if it wasn't for all of those injuries, those Denver wide receivers, I would maybe sneak in my Broncos. But nope, they took a step back in the preseason. I would rather not pick them and feel like if they make it, it's all cake. But I think the Chargers, I think Justin Herbert makes it enough to sneak into the playoffs on the last weekend of the season, and they end up getting in. So then I got Bengals beating the Chargers. I think they're just a better team overall in that opening round. I think the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, this is an interesting one, and I went with the Bills just based off of, I think at that point in the season they are going to be a little bit more seasoned in that position than the Miami Dolphins. Maybe, I don't know. I'm really regretting this whole having the Bills this high. Sorry, Riley, but I think the Buffalo Bills win. So in defense of your Bills, there you go. So Bills beat the Miami Dolphins division rival. Then you have the Jags and the Ravens. I think the Ravens are just a better team with a little bit more experience from the head coaching standpoint in the playoffs. The Ravens end up.
Well, the Jags have a Super Bowl winning coach.
Well, yeah, but I just think. I don't know. I just think this is a different year for the Ravens.
I mean, they could very well win that game. It's just the experience of the coaching staff is maybe not.
Yeah, and I think also there's a lot of challenges with Lamar if he's running around the field. If you have, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if their defense. Who's their defensive coordinator in Jacksonville again? I forget.
I don't remember.
Anyways,
Off the top of my head either.
So I got the Ravens. Long story short. So Ravens play the Chiefs. Chiefs take care of the Ravens. It's not even close. Quarterback matchup, coaching matchup. I think all in favor of the Chiefs. Players, personnel. It's going to be not even a close game. Then you got the Bengals and the Bills, which we've obviously seen a lot of matchups between these two teams. We're going to see another one here. Bengals end up winning this one. And then we have a massive game. We get a nice little rematch here. Bengals and Chiefs.
3 years straight.
And
this will be the third year in a row they face off in the AFC Championship.
And so this is what's exciting about this one. It's what's going to make the ratings out of this world is the fact that the Bengals are one of the only teams that have beat the Chiefs in big games in the playoffs. So it's like no other team in the AFC has proven they can do that. So I'm excited for this AFC matchup, and I just think this year Bengals come out on top. Sorry, Scotty.
No, I think you're wrong, but that's fine.
NFC side, we both had the Falcons coming in, and I think the Falcons are going to be a very interesting team, and I think that they have a chance to come away with this division. So I think they win the division over the Saints. The Saints are overhyped this year, even though they got Derek Carr. I still think they have a decent defense, but I don't think they can stack up as much as the Falcons. And I think the Desmond Ridder takes a step up. I think they have a lot of interesting weapons. Kyle Pitts and Drake London take the offense and just kind of, Bijan, you name it, top to bottom. There's a lot of things to like.
STGs, like the Falcons are a little hard for me to predict. I think they got more talented this season. I think they got an upgraded quarterback, and they played a ton of close games last year, and they lost almost all of them. They won some, but they lost a ton of them.
So the anti-Vikings.
Yeah, they were the opposite of the Vikings. And honestly, too, like that was with a quarterback that wasn't super accurate last year. Like Mariota was not a very accurate quarterback, and yet they were still finding themselves in a lot of games where they were winnable. And I'm like, if you just have a little upgrade at the quarterback, that changes a lot.
Yeah, if accuracy plus arm strength. Mariota has less than 0 arm strength. Ritter can sling it way more aggressively than Mariota. And you have weapons. I mean, you literally have weapons all over the place. You have a first round pick in Drake London. You have a first round pick in Kyle Pitts. You have a first round pick in Bijan Robinson. Like everything is there.
Algier is still there. Like he's still dynamic. I mean, there's a lot of things.
Yeah, he went for 1,000 last year as a running back in his rookie season. So, I mean, I think his role should be pretty diminished this year if Robinson stays healthy. But still, like there's weapons there.
Yeah,
and their defense is okay.
Yeah, I think that's their weakest point, but I think it's enough to get them in and get them in a spot where they win that division. And then you got San Francisco coming in. So, all right, let me go in the seeds. So, Eagles number 1. I think they still are one of the best teams in the entire NFC. They're the most. I mean, wide receiver core, running backs, defense. Did they take a step back? Did they have a lot of shuffling in the offseason? Sure, but I still think they're going to be one of those top seeds, if not the best, and I have them the best here. Number 2, the Lions. I think that their record is just going to be up there with wins, enough to get them close to that 2 seed. This NFC's a little weaker, so I think that that's going to be one aspect of them winning that division, getting in, and getting their spot. Then you got the Seahawks here. I think they win the division. Now, do I think that they're a better team on paper than San Francisco? No, but I think that they have a good coach. They have good personnel. They're close though. They're a scary team, and I think they can make a run. I think they end up winning the division. I think they come out with the NFC West and make it in here at the 3 seed. Number 4, talk about the Falcons. 5, Dallas comes in. I think they're going to be the best team record-wise, getting into that wild card spot. The NFC's weak, and I think that they're going to thrive and be able to get a good spot there. Number 6, we have the Niners coming in. I think they're going to struggle a little bit. I think everyone's talking about Purdy being the guy. We've talked about how we want to see a full season. We don't necessarily believe what we saw out of a 5-game sample size, and we want to see more of it. So
Cuban asked the question in the chat, do either of you think 49ers would go further with any of their original QB choices, including Jimmy G or Trey Lance or whatever that may have been? And I've said on paper, like,
Jimmy G.
I think Jimmy G. I don't think obviously Jimmy G's not great, but like I think Brock Purdy's a downgrade from Jimmy G. Maybe slight, but like I think Jimmy G is a better option for him.
I mean, to say that Mr. Irrelevant's going to come in and be the guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Maybe you're not that guy. Right? So I mean, one of my hot takes, and again, it was one of those hot takes, was Sam Darnold's going to come in and like light this up, right? I don't know. Like, we just don't know. And that's what makes me put San Francisco a little bit lower on this. I think they're going to have some trouble figuring out everything on that side of things. So we'll see.
And they don't have the defensive player of the year from last year, Nick Bosa, right now.
Correct.
That's concerning. I know the Chiefs don't have Chris Jones, and that's all we've talked about. No one has brought up the fact that the defending defensive player of the year isn't playing for San Francisco. They just want to bring up the fact that my Chiefs guy isn't playing. It's cool. It's cool. It's fine.
I don't care when Nick Bosa plays as long as it's not week 1.
Yeah, Nick Bosa. It's weird that only people are talking about Chris Jones, because if I could, and I've said this on stream, if I could trade right now, straight up Chris Jones for Nick Bosa as a Chiefs fan, I would do it in a second.
Yeah, 100%.
Nick Bosa's top 3 defensive player in the league. I don't think Chris Jones is there. Nick Bosa might be top 2.
Yeah,
might be 1.
No one's talking about it, STG. Yeah, it's a weird thing. And then so San Francisco, I think they take a step back. I don't think they're as prolific as everyone is going to make them out to be this year. They're a little inflated to me. All right, and then 7, the Vikings. I think they're good enough to win some games, and they're going to be in a lot of close ones. I think they lose a lot of those close ones that they won last year, but I still think that's enough to get in as the final wild card here. So then matchups wise, I think the Lions beat the Vikings. I got the Seahawks losing to the Niners, even though the Seahawks take the division and they get a lot of success. I think the Niners in the playoffs end up getting it done. They slow the game down a little bit. They take away some of the weapons on the outside, and they end up winning that matchup there. And then finally, the Cowboys take care of the NFC South, the winners there of the Atlanta Falcons. So they move on. I think the Cowboys are a talented team. They win their first 2 games of the playoffs to beat the Lions. Sorry, Chairman, but we both have the Cowboys beating the Lions. And then I think
he said in the chat earlier, he's like, "What's with you guys picking the Cowboys over the Lions?" I just think they're a better team. Can I just say that?
Yeah, I just it's just
And
On
the
both
refs.
sides of the ball.
There's also the referees.
I think both offenses should be pretty good, and I would maybe say Detroit's could be a little better, but I think Dallas has a way better defense than Detroit does.
Yeah. I think Dallas. I think this is if they can get into the playoffs and win that first game. I think they have some momentum to beat the Lions as well. The momentum is the biggest thing there. Like to get that monkey off your back of winning that first playoff game because they've just been getting bounced early on in the playoffs so often when they make it. It's just
Why are we bringing Monkey into this? What did he do?
he had to go to bed, so we have to pick on him now.
Should have been here.
Should have been here. And then the Eagles, I still think end up taking care of business. Again, the 49ers with Purdy. If he's still the quarterback, I don't even know if Purdy's going to be the quarterback at this point. Maybe he is. Maybe they're injured.
You
Maybe
said it's Sam Darnold.
It's Sam Darnold.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did say they were going to make it to the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold, but that's with the assumption that Sam Darnold's playing a majority of the season. Maybe
That was a better take than some of your others. To be honest,
Sam Darnold. Don't sleep on Sam Darnold under a good Kyle Shanahan.
Sam Darnold played at a level of like a Jimmy Garoppolo for a brief moment.
I mean, who's been Sam Darnold's coaches since he's been in the NFL? He's played for the Jets,
Adam Gase,
and then
Matt Rule,
went to the Panthers.
Matt Rule. So, I mean, you can't look at any of those coaching staffs or any of those like teams and say those are well-run organizations with good coaches that'll cultivate a top talent in the quarterback position. So you throw a good top 3 pick into an organization with Kyle Shanahan that can get the most out of him? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Trey Lance was also a top 3 pick.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it was right there for
What
the
did one
taking.
fungi say to another fungi when they got married? I want to grow mold with you. What do you call a knight made entirely out of fine china? Ceramic. Where did Harry Styles go to school? Watermelon Sugar High.
Watermelon
I also
sugar
went to
high.
Oh,
Watermelon
and before
Sugar
I forget,
High.
go Raiders.
Hey.
Let's go.
Thank you, P3, for the
Thank
biddies,
you.
all the jokes, everything. How did the date go, by the way? Let us know.
Oh yeah.
How did the
I
date
forgot
go?
about that.
Is this love?
Is this
Is it
love?
love?
Yeah, let us
What
know.
is love? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
Adam Gase has the eyes to see everything the D can't think of. Yeah.
The defense.
Yeah. Yeah, true. He's got them crazy ojos locos for sure. So then I got
Casually was like Dallas has the advantage on defense. Detroit has the advantage of an inspiring head coach. It's true. I listen. The front runner odds wise to win coach of the year this year is Dan Campbell.
True. Yep. Dan Campbell's the he's a lot of people
love
Oh,
Dan's persona. Like, is he the best? If he ever won coach of the year, would I rank him as the best coach? Never.
No.
But
Good night,
for a
hometown.
year, I mean,
Well, IDK how to ask her, nor where. But she confirmed she likes me a lot. We went on whatever the darkest ride was at Disneyland.
Oh.
Grin.
Did you do things on that dark ride?
yeah, I was gonna say what happened on that dark ride.
I mean, now we're getting the details. Good night, hometown.
Hooker.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
No, I just said Hooker. You said hometown. I said Hooker.
Good night.
That's
Good
the
night. We
full
can't
name.
wait to see you back here on Wednesday night. All right. So, and then the Eagles beat the Cowboys. I think the Eagles still are a really good team, and they want to crack at it. And I think the Cowboys'
So
luck runs
You're
out.
going with a wild Super Bowl matchup of the one we saw last year, outside the Bengals.
Yeah. So
In the game. I literally forgot it was covered on the screen. I was like, "You have the Chiefs, right?" It looked red to me.
yeah,
I forgot that you picked the Bengals.
Yeah.
The Chiefs.
I guess that was
yeah.
another. It's after the fact, but another one of my hot takes: the Bengals win the Super Bowl after making it as a wild card team.
Okay.
I think the Bengals come in as the 5 seed and win the Super Bowl.
I mean, we've seen some wild card teams make nice runs, so I mean, it's possible. All right, Scotty's. Let's reveal the champion. Obviously, Scotty's got his boys over the
Let's-
Cowboys
What
to win back
No, I
Obvious choice is obvious.
to
no one
back
panic.
Super
I mean, I was
Bowls.
right. I was right last year in my Super Bowl champion pick, Chris. I hate to be 2 for 2, Homer, but I was right last year, boys.
He
and girls,
he was right last year. That's true. That's true.
and I'll be right again.
So Scotty's
Buckle
got
up.
his Chiefs. Big surprise there. No, it's a good pick because they are always good. But on my side, I think I still stick with the AFC, and football wife. This one's for you. I got the Bengals. I think the Eagles fan base is just gonna just be disappointed again. And this is the end of the Eagles. This might be like the straw that breaks the camel's back for Philadelphia when they lose back-to-back Super Bowls to 2 different AFC teams. And football, I gained some brownie
love
points with
you.
football. Hey.
Hey, what about me? I found this fake graphic of Joe Burrow holding a Lombardi.
That's actually pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. I like that.
Honestly, Chris, I'm with you. I think the Bengals beat the Eagles.
Is that your pick officially, Rick?
That's my pick too.
Oh,
Bengals
see?
over the
My
Eagles.
goodness.
Can I change my pick?
Fade that so hard, everyone. Oh my! I did not know.
Oh no,
Fade. And football wife, I'm sorry for your loss already. I don't know when it occurs,
Yeah.
but it's going to occur.
So football wife, I got you as a wild card winning the Super Bowl. I got you doing something that hasn't been done since 2010.
Oh no. I feel so bad for football wife right now.
Oh.
She has a ton of hope going into the season, and then both of you pick the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. Why would you do that?
Rick.
Why do you both hate football wife? That you would.
I guess if I'm that wrong, that means the Steelers actually go all the way.
Oh,
No, you're very high on the Steelers too. Don't worry about it.
So
I
there
don't
you
know how you have the Bengals. Oh, you have the Bengals as a wild card after they lose the division to your all powerful and mighty Steelers.
Yes. Exactly. Any other
Cool.
questions?
No, just know what to fade.
this graphic is confused. Why is it confusing? Why is it confusing? Keep close.
It's just in the background.
Yeah.
It's just it's in the background.
We're keeping you on your toes, like you're like falling asleep, and you're just like, wait, what is that? Hold on, and then you're wide awake again.
It's confusing because you've never seen a Bengal holding Lombardi before. That's why it's confusing. I love you, football wife. You know that.
Salty A. Smith.
I actually wouldn't. I mean, if the Bengals won the Super Bowl,
You wouldn't be
honestly, I want
shocked.
the Chiefs. No, of course not, and I wouldn't be mad about it.
Like, if there's
obviously I want my team to win, but I wouldn't be mad if the Bengals won the Super
I mean, would you say of all the teams in the AFC that aren't the Chiefs, the Bengals are probably your pick? If like the Chiefs, you take them out of the
Pick to
equation.
win?
Yeah, if the Chiefs were out of the equation, just hypothetically,
I mean, I have the Bengals losing to the Chargers, Chris.
so you think the Chargers would potentially be
The second best team in the
Super
AFC.
Bowl, a Super Bowl run if the Chiefs weren't in the mix.
Are gonna talk to me like I'm dumb, but the Chargers are coming. They coming, Chris. I'm scared of them. I'm scared.
They need a Coach Prime, is what they need. They need a
They do.
Coach Prime, because they don't have the coach, in my opinion,
Yeah,
yet.
I mean, obviously the Bengals are an easy pick to make the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. They've been the last 2 years in the Super Bowl or in the AFC title game. So Would it surprise me if they go and win? Of course not.
All right.
I'm
There
just
you go.
not. I'm just not picking that myself.
How about this? If the Bengals win the Super Bowl, Scotty does the icky shuffle
Icky shuffle.
on the stream while
I mean, that's
eating
not a bad
pineapple
punishment.
pizza.
Yes. So it's
Absolutely.
pizza.
I will do all those things. I will do all those things.
STG, I'm on your wavelength. STG, my man. That's right. All right, let's get into our picks for the for all of the awards, and we're gonna wrap the show up. And we're gonna get into Wednesday's show, guys. Join our contest if you haven't already. Unknown. I don't know if you've joined the contest yet. They're all free. ActionLab contest, super contest, our Pick'em, and our Survivor. We made the announcement, in case you're just joining us earlier, that we are giving away a jersey if you can beat Scotty and myself and win the super contest. You win a jersey on top of the ActionLab merch. All the gear that we're gonna give for that prize. You get a jersey on top of it. So guys, join in on that contest.
Jersey of your choice.
Jersey of your choice. So guys, get in on that super contest. And then the pick, all of them are free. Pick them, the Survivor. Let's have fun. Join the league. It's coming down the pipeline where, obviously you want to join before the season starts. So make sure you do that. We only have 3 or 4 more days. So that's it. No, 3 days. Less than 4 days. Let's do it.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
That's it, guys.
Join. Maybe just join right now.
Join right now. Just do it right now. Save the time. If you don't procrastinate, don't do it. All right, let's dive into our picks for awards. All right, let's go down the pipeline, Scotty. You have MVP. We both have our MVP and all the other awards here. And you have our division rival quarterback here in Justin Herbert, who puts up stats. No one's arguing he could put up stats, so he just needs the team to go with him on that journey and actually win some games. And if he can do that, I can see this happening as an MVP, given how crazy he can put up numbers. I talk about Herbert actually real quick.
I just think Herbert's going to throw the ball a ton. I think he's going to lead the league in passing yards this year. I'm making bets on that. I'm a big believer with the new offensive system that Herbert's gonna, if he stays healthy, obviously with any player when you're picking MVP, if he stays healthy, he's gonna be right there in the MVP talk. Chris, you have, I don't know if you remember, you probably don't even remember. You picked Mahomes to win the MVP last year.
Yep.
And you picked Justin Jefferson, to win Offensive Player of the Year last year. And you were right on both. They both hit. And you're repeat champs. You're all in on those two guys to repeat again. Are you worried about like a NBA controversy with like the Jokic thing where like maybe
the voter fatigue?
Yeah, voter fatigue.
So I thought about that a little bit more with Mahomes, but then Mahomes, I'm like, from all indications, he's got a better team this year. Nick Wright has them going undefeated on the season. They're not going to lose a game. So,
probably won't.
Think about this, guys. A non-quarterback hasn't won MVP since Adrian Peterson since 2012. Only 3 seasons since 2001 have featured a non-quarterback MVP. So it's going to be a quarterback. Then you're talking about the top quarterbacks that are left, and Mahomes is always in that conversation, and he's so good that it's like I can see if there's anybody that's going to win a back-to-back, I think it's going to be him. I probably dislike my Justin Jefferson pick from a voter fatigue standpoint, but I also think that he's having a historic first 3 years of his career as well, and he's doing crazy things. But I'll get to that in a minute. I just think that it's hard to argue against Patrick Mahomes, given the fact that, again, that team is arguably better. From Scotty, from what you're saying, they're way better than last year. So that's only going to help his.
I can't pick them to win the Super Bowl and the MVP and all of these things. People just call me a homer, and it would be meaningless. So I can't pick Mahomes.
I think, and you were telling me, and this, by the way, guys, these votes aren't based off of odds or gambling, or because I can find value picks. Like value picks come and go, and I can be like, all right, I can see, throwing in kind of a long shot pick of like Jalen Hurts at plus 1,200 or something at 13-1, or whatever. I can do that, but it's who we think is going to win it, and it's hard to go against Patty.
I went with Herbert, who's 20-1, I want to say. I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, I think he's around there. Oh no, he was plus 1,500 at one point, and then I think it's changed a little bit at overtime.
For MVP, he's 12-1. Fifth behind Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Hurts.
So I think there's I think he has a good case. I think there's going into it. So yeah, let's get into offensive player of the year, and that's a couple wide receivers. This is like a wide receiver award, but this isn't.
Could be a running back.
It could be. It's not.
I thought about like CMC or something like that, but.
Yeah, and the thing with this is like, wide receivers, 3 of the last 4 years has been wide receivers. So it's like, it's hard to go against it with the fact that wide receiver, it's a passing league. I mean, we have studs across the board each and every single season. I think there's some value with like a Jamar Chase. There's some value with like McCaffrey and stuff, but I don't know, like, Justin Jefferson, I hate to go back to back, but it's just, maybe this is probably my worst pick. Maybe I should have gone like a Jamar Chase. But the Jamar Chase thing, he has too many weapons next to him that I think are going to eat into some of his numbers that are going to shine. Like, I think with the offense and like it's all going to run through Jefferson. I know they have some nice pieces there to go alongside him, but he's the guy. So, and he's unguardable, right? You can't slow him down. So he's going to have a big year. He's going to be in the conversation. Will he win it? Maybe he'll finish in top 2, but maybe.
I mean, he won it last year, so.
Yeah. Defensive player of the year. We both agreed. Again, didn't talk before this. We both have a Dallas Cowboy.
I had Micah in this pick last year. Didn't quite work out, but I think he's the most athletic freak in the league on defense. It's just a matter of time. He's going to win one at some point. He's too good. He's too talented. That defense is going to be really good. Micah Parsons is like, if I'm picking in a draft who I'm going to draft number 1 overall, and I had to pick a defensive player, I'm probably taking Micah.
Well,
it's Micah or Nick. That's it.
And there's 2 paths to winning this award, typically, right?
You forgot one. You forgot about Trent. You forgot about Trent Jordan.
I mean, okay, move on.
There's 2 paths. There's 2 paths to winning this award. Realistically, it's being the best player on the best defense of the league, or just as insane statistical marker that nobody has reached. And honestly, Micah Parsons can reach both of those. This defense can be the best defense in the league if they can live up to it, and he could be the best player on the best defense in the league. Also, he can have a crazy statistical year as well and win this award. So there's a lot of things going well for him in this category that I just think it's only inevitable that he's going to get better and better, and he's going to win this award. So I think this is a nice spot. Have a good night. It's already, yeah. Hey, good night, guys. We're going to be wrapping up after this anyway, so you're not going to be missing much if you guys are leaving. We're going to wrap up these awards.
Again,
Wednesday night,
including Dr. J. Well, I'll be sending links soon for the fantasy drafts that will occur tomorrow night for anyone that knows they're in. If you know you're in, you're in. If you don't know if you're in, you're not in.
And that means you just need to join our other contests. But yeah. What do you got? Keep close.
Got his
MVP,
picks.
Mahomes, OPOY, Kelsey POY,
that's
Sauce Gardner,
dominating.
Comeback, Wilson, OROTY, Kendra Miller, DROTY, Shalon Carter, Coy, Reed.
Okay. There you go. I like it.
That screams to me a Chiefs Super Bowl right there.
It's a lot of
By
Chiefs
the
on that.
way, when you say Wilson, you Russell Wilson?
Is that
It's
would
Russell
assume.
Wilson.
What did he come back from? He missed like 3 games.
He's coming back from having a shit.
Sometimes.
He's coming back from having a shit coach and a shit season.
I mean, yeah, it is a comeback of the year does apply to bad seasons as well, not just injuries.
Comeback of the year, I think, is a layup, and I don't know how you guys are missing it.
All right, I don't think. All right, let's talk about it. Because you have DeMar Hamlin, right?
Yeah.
Which obviously is like, I think. I mean, he was the talk.
Hello.
The talk of everything.
Yeah, like as long as the same thing doesn't happen, and he plays the season.
If he stays on the roster, he defeated death, Chris. On the field. No one can beat that. I was shocked. I was like, oh, I'm going to pick Hamlin, and then Chris will send me his picks, and he'll have Hamlin. And then you went with another guy who had a medical issue, actually, that set him out last year, and Mechie. I like John Mechie, but like DeMar Hamlin's winning that award.
But I guess
If he stays alive.
And what's the bar? I think is my question with this, because I get it. Yeah, DeMar, crazy circumstances, died on the field. Like, we thought he was a clone. He's not a clone. All the things.
I know who this we is, but
I was gonna say, like, I don't know. We thought that, but
maybe people
that.
thought that. Yeah, that's true. But I think the fact that, like, what's going to be his impact on the field for him to, like, he has to have an impact on the field, and is he gonna?
No, he does. No, he doesn't.
Does he just like sit? Does he like? Is he on the bench all year long and he just wins this award?
No, he has to be on the field. But if he's on the field, he wins.
Like,
it doesn't matter. It does not matter what he does on the field. He wins by being on the field, Chris.
Where I think Mechie is an interesting one, where he's, battled through some health crisis, cancer, yes. Where he was away, and then he's coming back. He's in an offense with a nice young quarterback, and I just think that there's more upside for him to get some stats under his.
You want to change your pick?
There's more upside for him to get some stats. Then he can have a higher ceiling on some like good accomplishments coming back. So like, if it comes down to like who's gonna have the better stats at the end of the season, then it's like
one's a safety.
Well,
what stats do you have for a safety?
Interceptions.
If he has interceptions and tackles, great. But if he's like, hey, thank you, Destruct. Destructleon. Welcome in. Who's your team and where you're from? I'd like to get to know you a little bit. Welcome.
Yeah, give us your team.
So, like, I just think, like, the offensive stats are going to be a little bit sexier. So, again, it could be already, like, before the season even starts, there's not even a... If it's done, it's done, and I got it wrong. So, it's like, if we're actually taking into account, like, play, I think Mechie has a better chance to get more playing time and more stats.
Of course.
I get it, though. We're both rooting for people who have an amazing story. So, yeah. But
with this controversy, the offensive rookie of the year.
Offensive rookie of the year.
I almost went chalk here. And then I
went pretty. Obviously, I went chalk with offensive rookie of the year. I didn't go chalk with a lot of my picks today, but Bijan Robinson's gonna get a ton of carries, a ton of looks. People already want to pick him.
Close.
I don't care if you died. How many yards? That's what you're saying, Chris.
No, it's not. Keep close. You are putting words in my mouth right now.
Kind of what you said. And quite frankly, Riley, I apologize.
This isn't a Skip Bayless thing, okay? This isn't a Chris Bayless thing.
Riley even said that's how it sounded.
Oh my god. It's not it's more of like, I mean, what are we talking about? Like they're both healthy. So I'm not all the stuff is behind them. It's like what they're doing this year, right? All the bad stuff is in the past. So it's like, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about like comeback player.
Chris.
Okay. Maybe
you might be canceled. After this.
We're canceling this show.
Hey, Chris.
Okay.
Anyway, offensive rookie of the year. Milwaukee's here saying Gibbs. Jameer Gibbs is a fine pick. Like, I have no problem with that. I just think Bijan Robinson's he has all
Bijan
the
will have
hype.
carries, just like he did at home against TCU, where he faced man defense for the first time, and was held to 29 yards.
Okay. All right, keep close. I don't know that he never faced man defense, and if he only did once and was held to 29 yards and no one else did it, that would be a weird strategy for other teams. But I just think he's going to get a ton of carries, ton of workhorse. He's going to get the catches in the backfield. He's the workhorse back for Atlanta. I think we both think Atlanta's going to be a little better than people think. To me, that's kind of an obvious one. I mean, could he lose to other guys? Like, I like Jameer Gibbs. I like other guys. Certainly, but to me, Robinson has like the head start, and someone's going to have to surpass him by a lot to beat him out.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to not go with somebody who can do a little bit of everything. Catch the ball, he can run the ball, he can be dynamic. He's projected, the name itself is projected to be like that. He's better than Saquon coming out. And it's like you have this expectation before he even does anything on week one that it's like, all right, like, so is he going to be good? And do we have the Falcons, both of us, in the playoffs? And is he a big part of that? Probably. So love Bijan. But I kind of went against the grain here, and I went with a quarterback, knowing quarterbacks can, have a nice little impact, especially on a bad team. It's kind of, and there's another name out there that's a little bit more, thrown.
You went, to be clear, you went against the grain with the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Well, yeah. And
I agree it's against the grain a little bit, but to be clear, it was also the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah, but Bijan's the favorite in Vegas, and Bryce is number 2. So
yeah,
I'm just going with the number 2. Statistically, I think that he's going to have a pretty good year. I think he's going to surprise some people. I mean, the people have been talking about Carolina. We've talked about Carolina maybe winning some games that maybe they don't have any business winning. They have a decent roster. They have a decent coach, and he's playing with a coach who helped maximize Jalen Hurts to the point that he reached his MVP potential. So I think that there's going to be some key factors for that success in like growing as a young quarterback. And then I also think that he has, some interesting, pieces around him. I think that there's some options to, even if he has a above average year at his position at quarterback, Bryce Young has a chance to be in this conversation. He's going to be at the end of the year one of these top 2 or 3 candidates for winning this award. And I think, he's got a good shot. I think he's got a good shot. So I'm going to go with Bryce Young. He is short. I get that. I do.
Keep close was like, name a game Carolina can win, Chris. And I thought that was a pretty Rex said it pretty easily. I mean,
it's not always, but it's not about always wins either when it comes to these awards. It's not like the MVP of the NBA where you have to get all the. I mean, you can have a crazy.
Not for offensive rookie of the year. You don't have to win a ton of games. But you can't be awful record-wise either.
No, yeah. You can still have crazy stats. I mean, look at Justin Herbert has crazy stats, and he doesn't win games, and he's in conversations for awards all the time. Like, I mean, you don't have to win games to be, in that conversation. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it ends up shaking out. But next up, we have both of us picked the same choice here for defensive rookie of the year, Scotty. I mean, again, we don't talk about these things.
I went a little chalky here. I don't. Last year, I think it was it Sauce last year? It had to be.
Of course it was Sauce.
Yeah.
The only guy that was close was Tariq Woolen.
and that was not close. So I thought about the corners this year. Usually this comes down to like a corner or a edge. And I thought about the corners. I'm like, I don't know if they're playmakers in the sense of like getting turnovers and making noteworthy. It's way easier to win as an edge and get some sacks. Will Anderson's the best pass rusher in this draft. Houston's going to be pretty bad, but like, especially for defensive rookie of the year, we saw Sauce win last year and the Jets weren't making the playoffs. So you don't have to win a lot of games on that side. I think Will Anderson's the best pass rusher from this draft. I think he's going to flash and make some nice plays. And, he's the favorite in Vegas. He's still like plus 400. So like, if you bet on him, you'd win 4-1 on your money. So he's not like an overwhelming favorite, but he is the favorite. And I went chalky with my rookie of the years just because like, I don't know. I haven't seen them play yet, and I kind of believe what Vegas is putting out there. I think the favorites should probably win if they do what they should do.
Well, and it's a chalky award. I mean, honestly, you need to limit your strategy here, picking guys who are top round picks, like of the first round. 6 of the last 7 winners have been drafted in the top 12.
It will not be Jalen Carter, by the way.
Like, well, the thing with Jalen Carter, and that's
no
why
one likes him. It's voted on by the media, and people don't like him.
Well, and is he going to be playing enough as a rookie? Like, he might have trouble.
You're a defensive tackle. You're not going to put up the stats to get it. It's just not a reality, even with that.
Yeah. I think there's some challenge there. Like, I mean, Will Anderson is interesting play because of sack potential. Like, D'Amico Ryans is a defensive-minded coach. Sack potential is going to be huge. Defensive strategy is going to be tailored to his elite talent. I think that there's a lot that he can get to, but like sack totals get you a lot of votes and a lot of attention when it comes to these types of awards. Like, interior defensive lineman hasn't won this award since Aaron Donald. So, like, that's not going to be, and that was 2014, by the way. So you don't get a lot of like guys right off the bat, interior defensive linemen coming in and just winning this award every other year. It just doesn't happen. And then as far as Tyree Wilson, I think he's another top player in this. Like, isn't he stuck in the depth chart behind Max Crosby and Chandler Jones? Like, there's a lot of competition there. So I just don't see him getting as many stats as he's going to necessarily need to get.
He's too raw.
And he's raw.
There's also Will Anderson's not going up against good offensive tackles.
Yeah, so I think it's tailored for Will Anderson to come through. And Devin
Will Anderson's toughest matchup is going to be in practice.
Yeah. And then the only value picks, I would say, Devin Witherspoon is a nice little value pick if you want to sneak in like a long shot. I think he could be interesting.
Whatever corner you like, whether it's Witherspoon or who's the one in New England? Christian Gonzalez, yeah.
Or you could go with Joey Porter.
Cubans After Dark over here.
He's too raw, dog. Yeah, right.
He's too raw, dog. How does the super contest work? We put in picks each week, Gibby. So, each week you pick 4 games against the spread. That's it. That's
whatever
it.
4 you want. Anyone can pick any game
against the spread.
4 games against the spread. You put it in, and that's it.
You can pick whatever ones. Again, you don't have to pick the same ones we pick. You don't have to. It's not. Yeah, like you do your thing, and at the end of the year, if you have the best record, you win a jersey and you win some ActionLab gear. So there you go. All right. So last category.
Maybe actually, I'll add to that, Chris. I'll add to that again.
Breaking news.
We'll give some ActionLab gear to whoever finishes last.
Ooh, I like that too, because that's tough.
With the caveat, you have to pick every week. So if you don't pick every week, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
You're eliminated. But if you finish last while picking 4 games every week, we'll throw you some swag as well.
You think that's easy to do too? It's not.
No, it's against the spread. You can't do it on purpose. There's a spread out there, so it's not easy to do.
Yeah, it's I like that. I like that a lot. All right, it's locked in. It's locked in. Make sure you go and register for our super content. And that's going to be the favorite content. I know we do the Survivor, and I know we do the Pick'em every year. This one's going to be fun this year, though, Scotty.
Yep.
All right, last one. Coach of the Year. So, interesting here. I have Frank Reich, and you have our boy from Colorado, Smoky Hill alum, local here, and you went with a boy.
It was a two horse race for me.
McDaniel and Campbell.
And Campbell, yeah. Both very likable. Both gonna win some games this year. I don't know. I had Miami as a 2 seed and Detroit as a 3, and maybe Campbell wins it over McDaniel. But they're both likable in the media. I think people want to vote for them, and if both teams do well, they will vote for him. So it's a neck and neck for me. I went with McDaniel. Could see Campbell as well, but those are my two. But I went with McDaniel.
Yeah, so I saw some interesting stats on this where it was like,
yeah, explain, Chris. I asked you before the stream. I don't understand your coach of the year pick.
So,
to be clear, that's Frank Reich, the coach of the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, and I'm getting some value, by the way, here by getting 20 to 1. 20 to 1.
Ton of value. But you also didn't pick that team to make the playoffs.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's how this ends up panning out, right? So I saw a stat where first-year head coaches is a key indicator for some of these, as it seems to be like a voting thing for some things. So 4 first-year coaches won this award from 2000 to 2016, and then 4 more from 2017 to 2023. So first-year coaches, regardless, they're taking over new teams that are garbage or whatever, are coming in and having success at winning this award, which you have a team that's like, got a little upside with the number 1 pick, which is my offensive rookie of the year. And you have this pool of first-time head coaches. And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, we have an established coach of Frank Reich who can potentially get some more out of like some young talent, like a Bryce Young. But it's just, it's kind of an interesting trend. The 2 non-first year head coaches to win the award since 2017 were also first-time winners. John Harbaugh and with the dominant Ravens team in 2019, and Lamar Jackson MVP, and then Kyle Shanahan was the next closest. And it's like you just don't see a lot of like the veteran coaches come in and win a lot of these awards, right? So I think Mike Vrabel shocked the league by winning the leading the Titans to number 1 seed overall favorites at one point. So it's like I was looking at all the first year coaches, and I'm like taking that as my like just lean.
Okay.
And
but what I would argue with that is all these first year coaches that won the award also made the playoffs.
True. And I don't have them winning the playoffs, so maybe it's
yeah. Do you want to change it? Do you want to change
I think we also need to address that Frank Reich is not a first-year head coach.
Well, I mean, for this new team,
for that team,
yeah, first year,
no.
yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. Like, for that team, so getting the new job. So I think if they're in the playoff mix with this roster, given what has taken place,
it's now hard to be in the playoff mix. That division is garbage.
Well, but still, I mean, he's going to be somewhat in the conversation. He's a top 10 top 8, I think, right now in Vegas odds. So I went out on a limb with this one, but I mean, if I'm looking at the rest of these, I mean, Sean Payton right now is in that category. I don't think Sean Payton's going to win enough games. Sean Payton needs to make it to the playoffs, and I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. Then you got Matt Eberflus. I don't think the Colts are going to be any good, and I don't trust their quarterback, and I don't trust as much as I do the Carolina Panthers. I like the Panthers better than I do the Colts, so remove him off the list. I think the Jets are going to underachieve. Robert Salah is in that mix.
Eberflus is a Bear.
Huh? Oh, Eberflus. I'm sorry. Bears.
Jay Steichen.
Well, we don't have and they're not going to be doing much in Chicago, I don't think. Sorry. And then Matt LaFleur, Green Bay could be an interesting one, but he's like, I don't trust that one, and he's not a first year head coach. So I was like, should I put him in? No, I don't think they're going to be very good. Mike McDaniel's in that mix, right next to Frank Reich in the rankings from in a similar spot.
Let me be clear. More than any other award in the NFL or in a lot of sports, the Coach of the Year is bullshit. It's bullshit. All right, let me run through the Coaches of the Year in the NFL. Last year was Brian Dable.
Yep.
He went 9-7-1 with the Giants and got Coach of the Year. Fine season. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just saying. All right, the year before, Mike Vrabel. The year before, Kevin Stefanski. He's shit the bed since then, and on the chopping block. In 2018, it was Matt Nagy. He's already been fired.
Yep.
2016, Jason Garrett. He doesn't have he doesn't exist in the NFL basically. Ron Rivera won it twice. Somehow.
The best coaches don't get Coach of the Year.
Bruce Arians won it twice somehow.
That's what I'm saying.
It's stupid.
That's why I mean, honestly,
so bad.
Arthur Smith with the Falcons could be like that's why it's like none of these coaches that are like, where do you see the Andy Reids and the Jim Harbaughs and the Knicks?
The last time Andy Reid has won, and it was in 2002.
But all the best coaches
won one Coach of the Year, 2002. You know who doesn't have a Coach of the Year? Son of a bitch.
Belichick.
Mike Tomlin doesn't have one.
We'll find him now.
That's why you know it's a joke.
It's a joke. Well, they give it to it's a slated Coach of the Year is slated towards
Bill
rebuilding
Belichick
coaches.
Bill Belichick hasn't won since 2010.
Guys, look at this. Kevin O'Connell plus 4,000, Andy Reid plus 4,000, Jim Harbaugh plus 4,000, Nick Sirianni plus 3,500, Sean McDermott. All of the best coaches are at the bottom
it's basically the award for the coach that takes a perceived shitty team and makes them okay.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why Frank Reich is in that category of like, yeah, let's turn this. Well, and Dan Campbell,
they have to make the playoffs, Chris.
I think
they gotta make the playoffs.
And maybe the argument I have for Dan Campbell is he's already hyped as one of the best coaches from so that's another reason why I maybe would lean towards Arthur Smith in the Falcons. Maybe I think I should change mine to the Arthur Smith.
I mean, keep close puts it right. Bill has 3 Super Bowls since the last time he won. Yeah. I mean, Belichick, 3 Super Bowls since he won his last Coach of the Year. And he's won 3 of them. He won in 2010, 2007, and I think like 2000-ish.
So we're both off on this one. We're both missing this one by a mile.
2003, actually. Maybe. I actually just picked McDaniels because that was who I picked last year. So I kept Chris.
Another crack at it. I like it.
Well, he likes to smoke crack on the sideline. No, it's not crack, but he likes to smoke on the sideline. He's so likable. That's why I stuck with him. I'm like, who doesn't find McDaniels?
True.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of people find Tomlin likable, especially in the media, but
yeah, well, I think Miami's also going to win games. So
yeah,